Hi there! Today I tested the DaVinci Resolve 18.1 and I compare it against my old version, the 18.0.4. The hardware I use are this KFA 1490 OC version. It is with the AMD Ryzen 7950X. Okay, it's not here, it is inside of the machine. And I'm one of the users who use 4 DDR RAM. So it's here, it's 4 times 16 gigabyte RAM. And they have a speed of 6000 megahertz and CL36. It's Kingston Fury. And I have to say I have no problem by running all the 4 sticks. And also I use SSDs with a speed of 7250 megabit per second. And I have 2 similar sticks inside, and I use everything on Asus ROG Crosshair 670E Hero. So as you see here, I have installed the DaVinci Resolve Studio 18.1. We can get directly into the results. Now you can see the same system with the components I showed you, how it can run with the speed extended overall score of 2538 and standard overall score of 2717, and how you can boost this up to a score of over 3000 and with a standard overall score 3403. And this is a massive improvement. I mean, it's 20% here, 25% here. In the 4K you get 41%, and depending on the mode you will use, 8K it can boost your system up to 46%. And here you can see the reference score was on Windows 11 Pro. On the same machine I have installed a dual boot, so I can boot it as a Windows 10, you see here over the blue ones, and I can boot it as Windows 11. And here you see the first tests I did on DaVinci Resolve Studio 18.04, and over here I installed the 18.1 and I got my really bigger scores. And the same thing also over here with Windows 10. If you just insert this hardware with 4 DDR5 RAM, it will run just without changing anything in the BIOS. It will run on 3600 megahertz. So yeah, I said everyone who will never enter the BIOS will just get this speed if you run it on the Studio, DaVinci Resolve Studio 18.4 and with Windows 11. So what I also did everywhere is I set the temperature of the CPU to 91 degrees instead of 95. Yeah, others can also set it lower, but I said, okay, I don't want to go to the maximum 95, so let's save some degrees. And then I put all curves up to minus 16. And how I run it usually, my system, is with EXPO 1 activated. So the RAM runs at 6000 usually. But here you see if you don't do anything, this is the score you will get. And here you see it's 7950X. So what is very interesting is with 4 sticks you should only be able to get 3600 megahertz. My runs without any problem if I activate this EXPO 1. And into the RAM settings I see it could take RAM with a speed of up to DDR5 12,000 megahertz. So I did some crazy theoretical calculation how I think it would scale up if I would insert 8000 or 12,000 megahertz RAM. So yeah, now let's close this and let's go to the result. Here you see the standard default thing. Everywhere we have 0%. And then if we change it and if we put 5600 megahertz RAM, you see the overall score will improve with 5.3%, the standard overall 4.6%, And what is interesting to me is more the 8K media score and a little bit also the 4K media score. The 4K will get a boost of 14% and the 8K will get a boost of 8%. The rest is not so significant. I mean, 1% or 2.5%, okay, I don't care. And down here, you see all the different scores from PugetBench for DaVinci Resolve. In yellow, I put everywhere on which mode we have the fastest possible thing. So yeah, this is a run, this is a run, this is a run, and here, yeah, when I say the fastest, I mean if 202 or 203 FPS, both will be almost the fastest, and over here 121, it was slow compared to what you can get over here. So yeah, instead of the RAM set to EXPO 1 5600 MHz, when you put it to 6000 MHz, what is 1.67 times faster than 3600 MHz, but what is a default EXPO profile without any other tuning things, then instead of 5%, you get here 6.3%, 16% in the 4K media and 9% in the 8K media. So anyway, I would activate always the RAM, the EXPO 1. And for AMD, I would also buy EXPO 1 RAM. And here you see in this configuration over all the other systems, 4K media ProRes 422 to DNX HR High-Q. This is almost the fastest score. I mean, about equal like over here, again on Windows 11. And then also we have a very fast score in BRAW to DNX HR High-Q. So this is almost the same score like over here with Windows 10, but also with all the Studio 18.04. So after these tests, I said, yeah, if you would use RAM not 1.67 times faster, but if it would be 2.2 times faster, so 8000 MHz, or the fastest what my motherboard is saying that it can take and run, 12,000, that would mean the RAM is 3.3 times faster. So I said this minus this, and then I calculated if it's 1.67 times faster and you get this score, how much it would be if the RAM is 2.2 times faster. And then you would get here with 8000 RAM. I don't know if the scaling is right and my calculation would be also right, but for me in theory, it means that over here 4K media score with 8000 RAM should be 21% faster than original, and with 12,000 RAM it would be 32% faster. So instead of 16% with 6000, you would almost get 32% over here. After this theoretical calculations, I went over here and I installed the DaVinci Resolve Studio 18.1, and I was really surprised as with the RAM set to auto 3600 MHz, we already got a similar performance boost like before. I mean here the overall score was 6.5 times, the extended overall the extended overall 6.5 times, and you see over here how much the improvement will be. And 4K media got a nice jump from 173 to 206, so 19% faster. The 8K media from 200 to 215, just 7.5%, but yeah, it's nice. Then the GPU effects was almost 10%, and we had a reduction in the score in the Fusion score. So down here you can see which format or which file type is really fast under Windows 11 and Studio 18.1, and in ProRes 422 to H264 it is really fast. And again, you see here wherever it is yellow, it means from all the configuration over my system, it is almost the fastest thing, or almost equal fast like the other fastest settings. And after that, I also run it with Studio 18.1 under Windows 11 Pro with 6,000 megahertz. And this is most probably the way how I will run it in the compression and debugger, as I get the highest score in 8K media overall. And you also see here in 4K media and in a lot of 8K media, it is the fastest. It's never the fastest in GPU effects and neither in Fusion. But for me, as I work more with 8K media, this is probably the way how I will run my system. Under Windows 11 with the compression and debugger. And because I always see big differences when I use the compression and debugger or only debugger, I also run the system, the same one with 18.1, only with debugger. And here you get the fastest score in 4K media. As you see here, it's everywhere, really fast. And in this too, it is quite faster than if you run it with the compression and debugger. I mean, in the R3D to H264 from 98 to 154. And over here you see, compared to the original system, we get a boost in some of the codecs of 85%. No, in one. In others we get 64%, 67%. Not so high in the 8K, but again, up to 50% faster. Yeah, I would any time run this one. A little bit surprising was that over here, the red to H264 on a 4K timeline is faster with the original settings. And here you are 10% slower, and over here 8% slower. And the Fusion and the GPU effects, I don't care so much about them. If you use them quite a lot, then you should run the system with Windows 10 Pro. And so here are also the scores with Windows 10, where it gets a bigger score most of the times in the standard overall score. And this is caused because the GPU effects are faster over here when you run it on Windows 10 Pro than if you run it under Windows 11. And also the Fusion will be the fastest of all if you use the DaVinci Resolve Studio 18.1, of course also with the RAM set to EXPO 1 and 6,000 megahertz. I will use Windows 11 because I just care about this 8K thing here. If I wouldn't care about 8K, then again, most probably I would go with Windows 11 and I would set debugger only because you get the biggest 4K score. But if you do a lot of GPU effects and Fusion things, then it is clever to stay on Windows 10 as you get a really big boost over here. But against the original scores, you get a boost of up to 36% here and 40% here. Some others are almost equal, and in one you are losing by a lot over here in the 3D title. I don't know why, but here if you set the compression and debugger, you will get the fastest, and with only debugger it is the slowest, or one of the slowest. Also here it is again really slow. So this is how you can improve your values if you run the same system for DaVinci Resolve and you can boost it from 2538 to 3110, or for the standard overall score from 2700 points to up to 3400 points. And if someone sees this score or this score, he would say, wow, this is a really, really fast system. And if someone sees this score here, he would say, okay, it's a nice fast system. But in this comparison, you see where you will get what boost. And so, I care more about this ones here. And so this is the way how I will run it. Most of the time, the compression and debugger on the new 18.1 Studio, and always with EXPO 1 on 6,000 megahertz. Except if once I will have 8,000 or 12,000 megahertz, maybe in 2 or 3 years. And there I expect a little bit a boost of maybe other 16% just because of faster RAMs if I could get a 12,000 megahertz RAM. And I guess that it must be a driver issue that Windows 11 runs so much slower on GPU effects and the Fusion. And so I hope that with coming firmware update for the 4090, all these values would get a big boost so that we can reach similar scores like over here. I mean, almost 500 score here, no, 503, the fastest one under Windows 10, and the fastest one under Windows 11 I could get is 428. So yeah, it is much faster, the Fusion score, the Fusion under Windows 10. So yeah, please NVIDIA update the drivers so that we can benefit also from that. What you saw overall is that the Studio 18.1 is much faster overall than the Studio 18.0.4. So I hope this helps you to also improve your system and to see for that what you need. You have a little bit to try out what is good, but anyway, do the update of DaVinci Resolve Studio 18.1, and if you have EXPO RAM sticks, enable them, especially if you have 4 DDR RAM sticks. And it's for me just a myth that 4 sticks will not run faster than 3600 megahertz, because my system proves exactly the opposite. So thank you for joining, and see you next time. Please subscribe. Bye.